The internet is full of terrible advice. Stop listening to it and start listening to the professionals. Today we're going to be going over some of the worst advice we've seen on the internet.
There's some bad ones.
I'm joined by Rich from our Rider Training, who's here to tell us the correct advice. Bad advice number 1. Loud pipes save lives. Is that true or not?
That's an eternal argument that's always been around in motorcycling. There is an argument that it can bring some attention to them, but quite often it's unwanted attention, normally from the police for being too loud. Far better, in my opinion, to look at your training, look at your positioning, look at how you're using the road and interacting with others to be seen.
And they are now bringing in noise cameras, right? That's something that started in Europe, and I think they're bringing to the UK, that if your bike is louder than the legal limit, you can get a ticket for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that whole tech is moving on massively. There's little point in my mind in running the risk of adding points or whatever to your licence, running the risk of not having correct insurance as well if you've not declared modifications, when there's far better solutions to a loud exhaust.
Bad advice number 2. You don't need gear for short rides. Popping down the shops, a pair of shorts is fine.
Listen, I get it. If you're just popping down the shops, it's always a tricky one. You think, I've got to put all that gear on. But stats prove that the majority of accidents happen within something like 3 miles of your home address, and that little pop down to the shops without the right gear on could end up in a whole heap of aggro.
Another gear related one, wearing proper gear on a 125 is pointless.
125 is capable of doing 60 miles an hour. End of story, end of answer, pretty much.
Dress for the slide, not the ride.
Very, very cheesy line, but I love it.
If it's raining, just go faster so you'll get home sooner.
Oh, wow.
You have no respect for logic.
Without doubt, the black and white advice on that is extra caution is required whenever it's raining and the roads are slippery, especially this time of year where you've got all the leaves and stuff floating around.
You'll learn to corner by going faster.
Maybe 2 trains of thought on that one, I think. Anything that you can just push the envelope a little bit in a safe environment. So you've got track days where you've got qualified instructors there that can help you out. You've got off-road skills days that can all help you understand what a bike is capable of doing, and more importantly, what you and your brain are capable of doing.
Yeah.
My black and white advice on that would be to ride within your limits on the road.
You can stop quicker if you only use the rear brake.
100% factually incorrect.
Yeah.
On the majority of bigger bikes, we've got 2 brake discs up front, and we've only got 1 at the back. If you're just using rear brake, highly likelihood that you're going to be locking up the rear wheel, and then you're sliding rather than stopping.
You don't need ABS, that's for amateurs.
Bit of a line from maybe the old guard who's learnt to ride without ABS, without traction control, without all the modern sort of safety features that we've got. There's a reason why, other than the legal requirement to have them on new bikes, there's a reason why the manufacturers are putting that stuff on there.
Yeah.
It's because it works. It definitely doesn't make you an amateur.
Just lean the bike, your body doesn't matter.
And without doubt, the more weight that we've got to the inside of the corner helps aid the laws of physics and helps to get us around that corner. But go and watch any police rider, they're not moving around on the bike, but they're carrying incredible lean angle and speed through corners. And for me personally, I'd argue whatever you feel comfortable with. Look at the steering input, look at the input from your eyes, the way you're looking, and they're the 2 most important things, I think.
You can ride in flip-flops if it's hot out.
It's freedom of choice and Darwin's theory all rolled into one, I think, isn't it?
The only legal requirement in the UK is to wear a helmet.
Absolutely. I'm all for freedom of choice, but I'd always sit there and say, well, you're going to then deal with the consequences.
Yeah. You don't need to look through corners, just follow the road.
Follow the road that disappears to a vanishing point, and you're then looking at the bush.
Yeah.
And, oh, whoops, I've ended up in the bush. Yeah, listen, when you're talking about cornering, where you're looking is hugely crucial to you safely navigating that corner.
You can ride tired. Coffee fixes everything.
Give me that coffee.
No, listen, if your attention is down for whatever reason, cold, wet, hungry, even if it's only taking away 10% of your concentration, that's 10% of your concentration that's not dealing with what's going on around you. The minute you're feeling tired, stop, have a rest, have a break, chill.
Yeah. This one is as much for the car drivers as the bike riders. Texting at red lights is fine.
With the sort of rise of delivery riders and the likes, that I'm seeing a lot more phone use whilst actually riding. Laws state that 6 points straight away. Not worth the risk from that point of view in terms of getting points on your licence, but also not worth the risk in terms of the damage you can cause to yourself and to others.
You don't need to check tyre pressure, you'll just feel it. Give it a kick.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can feel it if there's quite a significant drop.
And also, I guess, if you already know what the difference is, which
absolutely.
Fine if you're an experienced rider, but if you haven't
100%.
ridden much, then you don't know what the difference is,
so
do you?
Without doubt, regularly check your tyre pressures. And it's a tyre pressure gauge, and checking the owner's manual for what pressures that they should be set at, and making sure that you are doing that as a regular thing.
New riders should start on a 1000cc bike so that they don't outgrow it.
Have you ever driven one of these before?
Yeah, I ride double all the time on the scooter with Allison.
Holy shit!
The number of people that I've seen selling a 400-mile-old bike because it scares them. Buy something that you're going to enjoy rather than you're sitting on it all the time thinking, is this thing going to chuck me off here? The other side to it as well is, as a brand new rider, good luck getting 1000cc insured.
Yeah. If your helmet falls off the seat, it should be fine.
If it falls off your seat and you've got your bike parked up in the lounge and it lands on a nice soft insulated carpet, chances are it's going to be absolutely fine. If it lands on the edge of a curb, chances are it's not going to be fine. I think my answer to that would be, it's your helmet, it's your head, it's your choice. I'd actually say don't put your helmet on the seat of the bike. On the floor, flat on the floor. Even putting it on the mirrors can compress the inside of the helmet.
And then challenge it, if you do drop a helmet, you can't tell whether it's damaged or not.
Unless you've got a handy x-ray machine.
Okay.
In your garage. If you've got that, fine, crack on, have a little check, give it an x-ray, see if you've got any cracks in there.
Other drivers can always see you.
No, 100% not. Yeah, car drivers don't see us, lorry drivers don't see us, other motorcyclists don't see us. But we can also think about how we position ourselves to make sure we're as visible as we can be.
You don't need insurance if you're careful.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Do we need to answer that one?
I think the law would say otherwise,
the law
really.
quite clearly states that we need to have insurance to use a motor vehicle on the public road. So yeah, that's a quick and easy one, isn't it?
If your bike starts to wobble, grab the brakes.
A lot of the older bikes with the geometry and suspension and stuff like that would go into what we call a tank slapper. And so that's where the handlebars shake violently from lock to lock. And actually in that scenario, it goes completely against what your natural survival instinct is saying in terms of slow down. You actually need to apply a bit of throttle to try and get the bike out of it and just lift that weight off the front a little bit. But yeah, grabbing brakes will tend to magnify what the bike is doing and make it even worse.
Last one. When in doubt, throttle out.
I tweak it slightly. I think when in doubt, you've got to put the consideration in first and then make the decision as to whether it is throttle out or throttle off.
Reading the situation.
100%, yep.
That's just the classic. Comes with experience and road time, right? Is understanding, seeing different experiences, getting better at reading them. Yeah,
exactly that. Road time, road experience, planning, all that sort of stuff that comes into the melting pot of making that decision in what can be a split second.
Rich, so what's the worst bit of advice you've ever heard when training?
There's been a lot.
Yeah,
there's been a lot. I think my biggest concern probably currently is you can ride a bike bigger than a 125cc on L plates and learn to ride it as long as you're accompanied by somebody who's held their license for 3 years.
That's specific and random.
Yeah, very specific and very random. But unfortunately, I'm seeing a bit of a trend on it in social media. The only way you can ride anything bigger than a 125cc on L plates on a public road is with a qualified DVSA instructor.
So there we have it. Tons of terrible advice from the internet, but hopefully you now know the truth behind. Rich, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Enjoyed that.
And to the next one.
Look forward to it.